Let's cut the fluff. If she used to blow up your phone, text you good morning, ask about your day, and now suddenly, radio silence for days, that's not an accident. That's a signal, a shift, a test, or even worse, a sign of fading interest. Most men panic. They double text, they call late at night, they ask, "Did I do something wrong?" But not you. Not if you understand what this silence really means, and what to do when it happens. Because her silence isn't just absence, it's information. And if you handle it right, it's also opportunity. When a woman pulls back and stops calling, or texting for a few days, many men immediately jump to conclusions or react emotionally. They assume something must be wrong, and they feel an urgent need to fix it. That's exactly what separates a man with emotional control from one who's still ruled by his need for validation. When she goes silent, it often isn't about punishing you, it's about observing how you handle distance. Whether consciously or unconsciously, she wants to see if your self-worth is dependent on her attention. Do you panic and chase, or do you remain grounded and focused on your own path? This kind of pullback can be a subtle test of your emotional maturity. Women are naturally drawn to men who remain calm under pressure, men who don't let a temporary silence disrupt their inner peace. When she stops reaching out, it gives you a chance to show whether you're needy or composed. If you immediately start double texting, questioning, or confronting her, you've already failed the test. You've revealed that you don't trust your own value. You rely on hers to feel okay. But if you stay calm, keep living your life, and respond with confidence when or if she eventually does reach out, that says something much louder. It tells her that you are emotionally self-sufficient, that you're not shaken by uncertainty. And that kind of energy is not just rare, it's magnetic. The moment she sees you're not scrambling to hold her attention, she feels it. And ironically, that's often what makes her want to come closer again. Emotional control is not about manipulation. It's about knowing who you are and refusing to let someone else's silence steal your power. When a woman pulls away and goes silent for days, it's easy to get caught up in worry or confusion. But the truth is, silence reveals more than words ever could. When she stops texting or calling, she creates a space. And in that space, her true intentions start to show. You begin to see if she genuinely values your presence, or if she was only engaging out of convenience, boredom, or emotional need in the moment. What she does during that silence tells you more about where she stands than anything she might say. If she comes back after a short time with warmth and consistency, it might have just been a phase of needing space or dealing with her own emotions. But if she remains distant, offers lukewarm responses, or barely tries to reconnect, then it's likely that her interest is fading, or has already faded. Either way, you learn something valuable without needing to chase or beg for clarity. 2. Many men try to force answers out of a woman when she withdraws. They demand explanations, seek reassurance, or try to pull her back in. But all that effort does is cloud the truth. When you stop trying to control the outcome and instead observe what she chooses to do with distance, you put yourself in a position of strength. You let her reveal her hand. Real connection doesn't need to be forced. If she genuinely values you, her actions will reflect that, even after a few quiet days. If not, her silence is your answer. And while it might hurt, it also protects you from wasting energy on someone who isn't truly invested. Space doesn't lie. It gives you clarity, and sometimes that clarity is the most powerful thing you can gain. When a woman pulls away and you respond by chasing her harder, it often has the opposite effect of what you intend. While it might feel natural to send more messages, ask what's wrong, or try to fix the situation, this kind of over-pursuing actually repels her. Attraction is not built through desperation. It's maintained through confidence and balance. When you overwhelm her with attention in response to her silence, it signals insecurity. It tells her that your emotional state depends on her presence, and that kind of neediness can kill the very attraction you're trying to preserve. People are drawn to strength, especially emotional strength. When someone distances themselves and you immediately react with fear of losing them, you're showing them they have power over you. That power shift creates imbalance in the dynamic. She may begin to feel smothered, not because you're doing anything wrong on the surface, but because the energy behind your actions is rooted in fear, not self-assurance. The more you chase, the more she runs. What keeps attraction alive isn't constant communication or reassurance, it's mystery, polarity, and respect. When she pulls back, the last thing she wants is to feel like you're trying to force closeness. Ironically, the best response is often space. Give her room. Let her feel the absence. Let her wonder why you're not reacting like most men would. If there's real interest, she'll come back, and when she does, it will be from her own desire, not pressure. That kind of return is meaningful and long-lasting. But if you chase, you rob her of the opportunity to choose you again. Remember, it's not your job to convince someone to care. It's your job to show up as the man who doesn't need to. How you respond to her silence says everything about the kind of man you are. When she stops calling or texting for days, you're given a rare opportunity to show your level of self-respect without saying a word. Many men make the mistake of trying to win her back through over-explaining, pleading, or showing frustration. But the truth is, none of that commands respect. In fact, it often does the opposite. It shows that your sense of worth is dependent on her attention, and that's not attractive. It's emotionally unstable. A man who knows his value doesn't chase validation. He doesn't crumble when someone pulls away. He doesn't need to fix what isn't clearly broken. Instead, he stays grounded, focused, and respectful of himself. When a woman creates distance, a high-value man lets her have that space, not out of spite, but out of confidence. He understands that he's the prize too, and if someone chooses to walk away or take space, he's not going to beg them to stay. This level of self-assurance is rare, and women can feel it. They recognize when a man is centered and emotionally stable. That calm energy creates contrast. Instead of being overwhelmed by insecurity, you become a source of strength and clarity. Whether she's testing you, unsure about her feelings, or simply drifting away, your reaction sets the tone. If you stay composed and dignified, you stand out. You show that your value doesn't fluctuate based on who is or isn't texting you. In the end, your response to her silence is a reflection of your character. Let your behavior communicate that you don't chase what pulls away. You respect yourself too much for that, and that quiet confidence often speaks louder than anything you could say. When she stops calling or texting for days, the worst thing you can do is sit around waiting, checking your phone, and hoping she reaches out. That kind of passive behavior drains your energy and puts your entire emotional state in someone else's hands. Instead, the smartest move you can make is to shift your focus inward, onto yourself. Use the silence not as a moment of rejection, but as a window of growth. While she's distant, you should be building. Build your mind, your body, your purpose, and your environment. This is when you become stronger, sharper, and more grounded. When you invest that energy into your goals, your passion, and your peace, something powerful happens. You become less reactive, more composed, and more attractive. Not just to her, but to the world. You stop needing her attention to feel valuable, because your self-worth is being fueled by your own progress. That shift in mindset changes everything. You go from being a man who's waiting for a text to a man who's moving with purpose. And ironically, it's often in your absence, when you've stopped chasing, that she starts to feel your presence. More than ever, women are drawn to men who are driven. When she sees that you're not stuck in limbo because of her silence, but instead using that space to level up, it sends a strong message. It shows you have discipline, self-respect, and vision. Even if she doesn't return, you've gained something more valuable. You've raised your standards and grown as a man. The silence becomes fuel, not failure. And if she does come back, she's not returning to the same version of you. She's returning to someone stronger, more focused, and far less available than before. That's the power of growth during distance. When she stops texting for days, don't take it personally, but don't ignore the message either. Her silence can be a test, a sign, or a warning. The question isn't, why is she silent? The real question is, who are you becoming while she's gone? Become the man she can't ignore, not the boy begging for a reply. Stand firm, stay calm, and let her silence do the talking.